You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Pink Lady Presents. It ain't over till you say it's over. I am so thrilled today to be sitting near a friend of mine who definitely has a life well lived, living.
Right.
Butch DuBarri. Butch, I met Butch, about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's been that.
Right, on an audition to one of my shows. But you know what? I'm getting this feeling, everyone, of like there's country in the air. Well, what do you think, Butch?
Well, I love country, born and raised in the country, spent a lot of time working in Nashville, and I love country. But when you do country, you have to have on a certain hat. So if you don't mind, Pink, I'm going to take this hat off.
Okay.
Do they call this a wardrobe change?
and you can't sing country without the right
No,
hat.
I get it.
There you
There
go.
you
How do
go.
I look?
I
Now you
love
look
it.
the
Is that better? Okay. Now let's talk.
Now
country.
you're going.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We're ready for our first country song.
Okay, and this one is called Night Owl. It's country writers always write things that are simple and tell a story and that you can understand.
Okay.
And this time, this song is about a man with a broken heart who's actually become a crybaby. The song is called Night Owl. Show my face in the daytime. The pain is just too much. Your sunny, bright, two-time smile really tears me up. I stay away from the light of day. I hide out from the sun. A broken-hearted night owl. That's what I've become. Listen. Ooh, goes the night owl. Loving you put me out on a limb. Ooh, goes the night out. I may never see a sunny day again. I was so happy loving you until you done me wrong. Now the only time I can show my face is when the sun has gone. The moon and stars in the midnight sky, my companions in the dark. Nighttime is the right time for a constantly crying heart. Hey, ooh, goes the night owl. Listen, girl, sitting there up in my lonely tree. Ooh, goes the night owl. Look what loving you has done to me. They say what's been done in the darkness will someday come to light. I'm gonna hide my tears in the darkness till the day you treat me right. Ooh, listen, girl, look at me, a full-grown man, crying like a baby because of your two-timing personality. You know that ain't right. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, making a man like me cry. I'm gonna say it again. You listen. Ooh, goes the night owl, sitting there up in my lonely tree. Ooh, goes the night owl. Girl, look what loving you has done to me. One more time. Ooh, goes the night owl. Loving you put me out on a limb. Ooh, goes the night out. I may never see a sunny day again. Listen, girl, I may never see a sunny day again. Everybody say, all right, Pete.
Oh, yeah. Boo-hoo. I love it.
You can stop crying
Yeah,
now.
stop crying. Okay, wipe my eyes over here. Well, I mean, you are so versatile. I mean, you played the drums at what, 10 years old?
Played the drums.
And then at 14, what did you do?
Started my first combo.
Oh, my.
Started writing my own songs back there in Quincy, Illinois.
Well.
Where I had the best band in the tri-state area.
Wow, there.
Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri, the Show Me State, and been in it ever since, with the exception of my tour of duty in the United States.
And how long, and thank you for your service, how long were you in the service?
3 years.
3 years.
61 to 64.
Okay.
And then, after an honorable discharge from the military police.
I was reading that. I mean, how did you get that far?
Well, it wasn't safe.
I know.
In the military police, which gave me what all young artists really need.
And what's that?
Discipline.
Okay,
And
discipline.
then migrated to Los Angeles and arrived here in 65 of August during the Watts riots.
Oh, that's a great
Welcome
time.
to LA.
Yeah, welcome to LA. Oh my! And so, what did you do during that time? I mean,
Nightclub work,
nightclub.
touring work. Signed up with a small record company in Hollywood and toured all over with a singer. I had a band that backed up a guy named Brenton Wood.
Okay.
And we toured the world. We had the #1 song in 7 countries.
And what was that?
It was a song called Give Me Some Kind of Sign, Girl.
Oh.
His name was Brenton Wood. I was his musical director and conductor, and that was my exposure to professional recording, and that was 67.
Wow,
Man,
that's a little while ago.
Been around a
But you
long
look
time.
good.
Well, thank you,
I mean,
thank you.
really.
That's clean living.
Yeah, it is clean living. Age is only a number. Look at this
That's
man.
right, clean living.
Well, let me ask you one question that it was on my mind. Was you write, what, 95% or 100% of your music?
Yes, ma'am. I am really only good after years of playing in nightclubs.
Okay.
And playing songs off the hit parade.
Right.
I got to a point where I believed enough in my material and I thought it was good enough that I said, if I'm going to sing, if I'm going to perform, then it's going to be original material. I'm not going to copy all the stars. You hear Butch, it's because it's Butch.
What was your first song that you ever wrote?
First song? When you're going back to high school?
Well, yes, I am. If that's when you did it,
I wrote it like everybody did about a girlfriend. Her name was Evelyn Jane. Evelyn Jane, you're causing me so much pain. I was in high school. Come on, Pete.
Oh, I love it.
My all-time favorite of your original songs
yes.
is Mrs. Right Loves Mr. Wrong.
And that's a universal song.
That's
Yeah,
a
it
wonderful
really is.
song.
I've had
Tell people about that. That is adorable.
I've had several important relationships in my life.
Okay.
Like a lot of men. And every time I was Mr. Wrong. She was Mrs. Right. I think every man can relate to the fact that most families think, when you say, I'm going to marry that guy, the family say, what? You're going to marry him? He's not right for you. So that was the inspiration for the song, Mrs. Right Loves Mr. Wrong. But the key word in there is that wrong and right, we go together.
Oh, I
Birds
get
of
it.
a feather.
Great song.
Yeah. It's too bad that I'm not doing that today. But anyway, it's on my country album, and it's in the play. Because Pink, you saw the play.
Yes,
okay.
we were there opening night.
And we were there opening night. Now, what he's referring to, my audience out here, is a play called E.D. Blues.
And what does that stand for, Pink?
No, we'll let
We're
you
gonna let
do
you
it.
tell
We're
us.
gonna let
Doug,
you
why don't you
us.
tell us?
That's erectile dysfunction.
But on TV, they call it ED.
ED.
That's right.
And of course, in the play, it's a spoof on that. And the play is a full-fledged comedy.
Yes, it is.
Guaranteed to make you laugh with 25 original songs.
Yeah.
Mrs. Right is in there.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
It's a May-December relationship.
Oh, I love it.
An older man, a younger woman,
Right.
and she's curious as to after 6 months of going together, he has not consummated their relationship.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, she said the same thing. I wonder why. What's wrong with this dude? Look at me, I'm fine, you know, and pretty and intelligent, and she's a businesswoman.
Right.
And he hasn't even got to
And wait a
first
minute, you
base.
wrote this whole play.
Took me
You
four-
wrote every song in this show.
Four and a half
hello
years.
there.
4.5 years.
Wow.
Because I wanted it to be sexy without being obscene.
Correct.
I
There's
wanted
a
to
difference.
be. I
That's
wanted
right.
it to be universal,
Right.
interracial,
Right.
and modern.
Yes.
Everybody's seen a commercial about erectile
You're right.
dysfunction.
That's right.
It's not something I made up.
No.
You can't avoid it if you want to.
Yeah.
Speak up, Dove.
Yeah,
Speak
you
up,
cannot
Dove.
avoid
Come on,
it
Dove.
if
Go
you-
ahead. Go ahead, Dove. Tell it. Tell it like it is.
And when we sat in that audience at the El Portel, you had a really enthusiastic audience.
Yes,
Thank
you
They
did.
were with
Yeah.
you every step
Every
of the way.
step of the way.
Thank
right.
you.
It,
Thank you.
it
Thank
was
you. I am going to recast it now, and we're bringing it back out next year.
fabulous.
And
Fabulous. Now,
it's
how many
even-
in the cast?
21 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Eight
That's a lot.
dancers,
Yeah.
a lot of rehearsal.
Yeah.
And we have changed some members that we didn't think cut it too good in the
Okay,
first, so we've
okay.
improved it.
Good.
I've spent another year working on the script to make it even funnier,
Fabulous.
faster, and even a little sexier, and I put in
Oh.
some modern day stuff.
Okay.
You know, like the Me Too thing.
Oh,
Put that in
okay.
there, you
Oh,
know,
great.
yeah,
Good for
put
you.
some things in there about the DACA thing. So
Okay.
we kind of modernized it to cover what's
Everything
happening in the
today.
news today.
Very good.
Is there any way that the lead could be our favorite Butch DuBarry?
You know us.
Come
We-
on now, Doug.
I'm
I know.
serious.
He loves you. He thinks
I
you
think
are.
that if you
No.
were the lead,
No,
there'd be no stopping
ED
it.
has nothing to do with me. I mean, come
No,
on.
it has nothing to do with you, but you're an actor, and as an actor,
No
you
way.
can pull it off.
No. Doug, I wear enough hats.
Yeah.
Don't give me another hat.
Producer,
Doug.
writer, composer,
Music, you know, come on,
director.
give me
Well,
another
now
hat.
we're gonna if you wouldn't mind, we're gonna share with our audience one of the songs
From the play.
E.D. Blues.
But-
yes,
I have to change hats.
has
Sure.
to-
Because
okay, wardrobe change.
This is R&B,
There you go.
Oh, I
and
love
this
that.
is the song that actually inspired the play.
Oh,
A friend
okay.
of mine named Alonzo Freeman, who's a songwriter, singer, and basic extraordinaire, we had a group called Touche, and we were appearing in clubs.
Okay.
We appeared in the Methodist Church, and we did a concert, and you know what their favorite song was?
I'm afraid.
This one.
Go ahead.
This one that I'm going to do right now,
Really?
called Big Daddy's on the Pill. Are you ready for
I
that?
am
We're absolutely
ready
ready
for
for
that.
that.
He was with Mr. December. She was his darling Miss May. His ex-wife laughed and she said, he's out of gas. He couldn't get it on anyway. But May told all her friends, I'm crazy about that man. He gives me such a thrill. I didn't think he could, but he loved me so good. Because my big daddy's on the pill. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. I swear these facts are true. 49 can become 19. That's what that magic little pill can do. Now wouldn't you know, he likes Al Jarreau. And she is 50 cents. 20 years apart, can't cross my heart. You know that's quite a big difference. Things ain't going right, and he gets to a pipe. She teaches him how to chill. Oh, but behind the bedroom door, he's teaching her much more. Because her big daddy's on the pill. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. I swear these facts are true. 49 can become 19. That's what that magic little pill can do. The church went into shock, and Grandma hollered, stop! When she walked down the aisle. but May just winked and smiled. The preacher said, do you really want to say I do? And May said, as a matter of fact, I will. I'll stay till death do us part. Woo, I can't wait to start, because my big daddy's on the field. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. I swear these facts are true. Miss May surrenders to Mr. December when he's doing what she wants him to. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. I swear this fact is true. 49 can become 19. Now you can do it when you want to. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. Look out, girls. My, oh my, whoa, whoa, whoa. Lady, get ready. Your big daddy's on that pill. Big daddy's on the pill. What you say, my dog? Big daddy's on the pill. Everybody, see you later. Big daddy's on the pill. I finally take mine. Big daddy's on the pill.
Woo, yes. Oh, I love that one. That is a great one. That wasn't in the first one, was it? I don't remember that.
It's in the play at
Yep.
the end. Yeah.
Really? I don't remember
So
that.
my question is, do we yet have a date when you're going to be coming back into the theaters? And
The script is ready.
Okay.
We need more money.
Yep.
We're looking now for, we spent a lot of our own money the first
Right,
time.
Right.
But they say it's a smart man that can spend somebody else's money.
Yeah.
We are looking for investors,
Okay.
have some new cast members that are great.
Good.
We're doing some rehearsals now, and we hired a media consultant.
Okay.
Because as you know,
Right.
media is where it's at.
Yeah,
The
that's
last
right.
time we made a mistake. We didn't use enough social media. This
Okay.
time we have an expert.
Good.
He's only 20-something years old. But,
they are an
you know,
expert. That's
Yeah,
their
they are.
age.
You know,
Yeah,
he
you're
grew up
right.
with, he knows Instagram, Facebook.
Twitter,
you know,
all that
You know,
stuff,
the
right.
only book that my face is on is, whatever. Anyway, so this time we're going to do it right.
Good.
We need to reach more people. It's not age limited, even though it's about erectile dysfunction. The music is funky, like this song. It's
Yes,
bluesy.
it is.
It's funky. It's funny. The cast is interracial. It's
Okay,
funny.
if people want to reach you, is there a website they can go to? I mean, is there, you tell us how,
ED
if someone
Blues.
wants, ED
you can
Blues.
go to ED Blues, but you can also go to DuBarri Music at
DuBarri
yahoo.com.
Okay, DuBarri Music at yahoo.com.
And
please spell DuBarri.
Yeah,
D
please.
like in David, U like in uncle, B like in boy, A like in apple, R, and don't put a Y, put an I. DuBarri
Good.
Music
Good.
at yahoo.com.
Got it.
And we will tell you all about it, because next year when it comes out, it's going to be a smash, because ED hasn't gone anywhere.
I
It's
love
been
it.
around.
Be in
That's
the front
right.
row as we were
It's
this
been
year.
Yeah.
around since the Roman Empire
You're
and
right.
the Greek Empire or whatever like that. Although they didn't talk about it, we talk about it and we make you laugh about it.
Well,
And
first
if
of all,
for any reason you didn't get the address, all you have to do is write to Pink Lady Presents LA. We will forward it on to Butch.
Right.
Any questions you have, any interest that you might have, and we encourage you to support, because if you support our local people, our writers, our performers, our composers, then we will have much better and much more diverse
theater in
entertainment.
LA and all over once it goes.
Right.
Listen, here's my really deep thought.
Sure.
If you look at what's happening in our country today,
Correct.
the best country in the world.
Right.
But if you watch the news all day from one day, let me tell you something. We all could use a good laugh.
Correct.
Yes.
Actually, Butch DuBarri, first of all, you're a most charming gentleman.
Thank you, Pete.
You are a most talented man. You have a lot going for you. You really do. Not only the drums, but not only your music, but you yourself.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your friendship. I wish you well. Please, everyone out there, especially if you are a talented performer who sing or dance, please get in touch with
Call me.
Butch or myself. We will put you in touch with each other here. And I know he's looking for talented people of all ages.
That is true.
And for ED Blues, Thank you again for coming on.
And Pink,
yes,
if you hit the lotto, call me.
I will.
I'm looking for investors.
I get it. Okay. Everyone, we will be right back. I believe it is not the breaths we take in life that count. It's what we do with the breaths we take. And I should know. 84 years young. Today on this stage, you will see talented performers all over the age of 60.
Life is a cabaret, old chum. It's only a cabaret, old chum.
Money! You got lots of friends hanging around that door.
I'm gonna live and live now, 'cause everything's coming up rosy.
Then your fingers touched my silent heart and taught it how to sing.
Dear, with your lips to mine, oh, rhapsody divine, zing went the strings of my heart.
To reach the unreachable stars.
But I've got to do it all in 3 minutes or less. How about maybe ragtime? How about boogie woogie?
Darling, let's dance. Let the music take us. The blues ain't gonna break us. We won't give it no chance.
Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. You've treated me so kind. I'm about to lose my mind. You made me so very happy. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
To reach the unreachable
Hey world, I am what
We are honored in so many ways to have Tommy Lasorda in our lives.
It was good to see the youngsters performing up there.
Miss Ann Margaret.
Senior Star Power Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Tony Orlando.
Hit it, my boy. Let's see what we get.
We are back. We are back with, and I sighed because I am like so excited today. Pink Lady does present Lives Well Lived, and you are going to see two people who are definitely living their life well lived. And I'm sitting besides, well, here we go, Major General, I love that, Major General Peter Gravett and his lovely bride, Colonel Blanche Gravett. I mean, I am in awe of the two of you. First of all, because you're adorable, and you just captured this young woman over here.
I did. I really captured the young moment.
Well, I'm going to ask you, because before we even go into all this military stuff, as a woman, and I know my audience always likes to know all these different things, how did the two of you meet?
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yes. First of all, we did not meet in the military.
Oh, okay.
We met on a volleyball court of a community center playing volleyball.
No way.
She was on one team and I was on another team. And as I rotated up to the net and she rotated up to the net at the same time, I waved at her and then shook hands underneath the net.
I love this.
And the next time the ball came, I whacked the ball and hit her in the forehead.
Knocked her out.
Oh my!
Completely.
I love it.
And that was our introduction.
You got her attention.
Oh.
I got her attention.
That he did.
And then how long after that?
I apologized to it, and about 30 minutes later, I was taking her coffee.
I love it. Oh my goodness! Now, and where was this? What town was this?
That was in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles.
Yes, in Los Angeles.
Oh
yes,
my goodness!
yes.
And how many years is it? How many years?
Well, I tell you what, I've been in the military a long time.
Yes.
Blanche has too, and we've known each other quite a while, and we've been married a while.
I love it. See, that's the type of story. It's romantic, but it's exciting as well.
Well, I know that you come from a large family.
Yes.
Because I had the privilege of doing the invocation aboard the USS Battleship Iowa.
Right.
You
when
did.
You were honored with the Admiral Gravely Award.
Yes, I
and
was.
I want you to tell this audience because people don't understand
Yes, they
what
don't.
doesn't happen on a ship.
Well, okay, the Admiral Gravely Award is named for Admiral Gravely, who was the first African-American to be appointed to the Naval Academy, and therefore the first African-American to be a graduate of the Naval Academy, and the first African-American commissioned naval officer to be assigned to a ship.
Wow.
And he had a distinguished career, and through his career, he was later the first African-American naval officer to command a ship as a captain, and then later, as a 3-star admiral, he was the first to command a Navy fleet.
Oh, wow.
But along the way, one of his assignments was aboard the Battleship Iowa as a junior officer, and so the Battleship Iowa Foundation has chosen to develop a program where once a year they honor a person with the Admiral Gravely Award that represents Admiral Gravely's experience as a naval officer.
Fabulous.
And this last year,
I received that honor, and I was aboard the Battleship Iowa in Los Angeles Harbor in San Pedro, and of course, as in all ceremonies, they do ceremonial things and so on and so forth.
Right.
This was kind of unique.
It
I think
was.
what you're getting at.
yes.
Yes.
And that is that at the mast of the ship they have the 2-star admiral's flag, which is a blue flag with white stars. Admiral Chatansky is the admiral of the Battleship Iowa, and he chose to raise my flag, Army flag, which is a red flag with 2 stars, up on the mast of the Battleship Iowa. Both flags flying together
It was
simultaneously.
fabulous.
I got to believe that's the first time that's ever happened. Dove, what do you think?
I
I
think
think
so.
it's magnificent. I mean, you've done so many things first. Another thing I want to share with our audience, I was privileged to found a group at the California Institution for Women called Veterans in Prison, honorably discharged veterans who then became what I call justice involved.
Right.
And they ended up as felons in a prison. And I called up General Gravett, who at the time was the Secretary of California Veterans Affairs, and I said, we've got this program, it's doing so much good work.
Right.
I would love to have you come and install the officers at the very first meeting of the Veterans in Prison at Corona, at the California Institution of Well, General Gravett came, Colonel Blanche Brett Gravett came. I think you brought 5 or 6 or 7 people from
Yes.
your office in
Fabulous.
Sacramento.
Yes.
Wow.
And that program has grown from the few people to now we have 57 every week. The state only allows 30 in an extracurricular program. We got a waiver to 57. We have
Oh, wow.
119 on a waiting list.
That's unreal.
And then
Unreal.
the chief deputy was promoted from the women's prison to the men's prison in Chino. And I got a phone call. And he said, what you did there, I want you to do here. We now have 3 veterans in prison posts at the men's
Really?
prison. And all of this because of the enthusiastic support of Major General Peter Gravett and Colonel Branch Gravett.
Actually, Dove, I got to thank you again because that concept was unique. It was
Yeah.
first of a kind, and I'm certain that that I don't think anyone has thought about that before, that the fact that we do have inmates who are in fact veterans.
And honorably discharged.
And honorable discharge veterans, and at some time will be released.
Yes.
And when they're released, will they have the services that are available to all veterans? And they will. But the fact that you and I and others started the VIP post, Veterans in Prison post, at that prison is just unique. And I also want to shout out to the American Legion post at Pacific Palisades, who were involved because they provided the hats for the women veterans and also the white gloves for their color guard.
And American Legion Hollywood Post 43 provided the flag so they could have an honor guard.
That's right.
And they actually practice every Sunday marching and presenting colors for every event that goes on in those prisons.
That's fabulous. But also I think you should tell our audience again what the actual prisoners do for this program, which is unreal.
Well, there are a number of things that they do during the year, but the crown jewel of the program is throughout the year we bring out truckloads of fabric and foam and materials and sewing machines. And in the women's prison, they make Afghans and quilts and pillows and embroidered toys. And then in early December, I go out with a truck, have every year since we started, pick up everything they've made all year and take it to distribute at VA hospitals, California veterans homes, the domiciliary, any place where there are veterans or active duty. And last year and this year, we added families of deployed. And we're going to be doing it again this year on December 8th in El Monte at Whittier Narrows Park, in conjunction with 5 commands to bus in the families of deployed. They will all be treated to entertainment and these wonderful gifts free of charge made by a veteran.
The program that you guys did, right. Your success, I will call that, definitely, because you rose in the ranks.
Yes, I did.
But now, Blanche, you also, when did you join the service? And you started to rise in the ranks.
Well, my beginning of the service is a little bit unique, as was Peter's, but I was a direct appointment.
What does that mean?
That means I had no prior military experience, excuse me, before I came in.
Okay.
So I came in as a captain.
Oh.
And then, it's like going from kindergarten to high school.
Yeah.
Right away. So.
Wow.
And then I just did the schooling that was required and rose to the rank of a colonel.
I mean, she says it so and I just rose. I'm sure there was a lot of hard work.
Well, and with any assignment, there's always hard work. There's no matter what you do in life, it's always something hard that has to go with it. There were challenges along the way, but you kind of pass them by and say, oh well, and you keep on moving. But I had to go to school.
Right.
And at the same time, I was working on my civilian job.
And what was that?
And that was a teacher for the Los Angeles Unified School District.
What grade did you teach?
I taught everything from kindergarten up to adult.
And one of the things that meant so much to the women at the California Institution for Women was the fact that, General Gravett was there and he was a man, but here was a colonel who came, took the time, and sat down, talked and met with people. And, whenever I go out there, I don't just hear, how is General Gravett? They say, and how is Blanche Gravett?
And that's important. That's very important.
It is.
Yes.
You're a real role model for them. And I will tell you that we have made affiliations with a lot of American Legion posts. I spoke at the state convention last year. And when people are released, about 6 months before they're released, we connect them with the American Legion posts wherever they're going so that they can be welcomed and brought in. We haven't had one recidivism. Not one person has recommitted or been in trouble since they've been discharged from this program. Not one.
I think that's fabulous. Good. I'm going to just ask you something. Now, does one call you Major General Peter now, or how do we address you? I mean, I'm going to say because I love you, Peter and Blanche, but how does one address you?
Well, my brothers call me Pete. How's that?
Oh, okay.
And my neighbors call me Peter.
Okay.
And anybody that's been in the military call me General.
Right.
So that's
okay, I'm going to say Peter because I love that. But now you are one of 11 children.
That's correct.
Your American dream is what I call this. Your father was someone that I would have killed to meet. An enlisted
Tuskegee Airman.
Airman.
Yes.
I mean, World War II. For how many years?
Well, he was in during the war.
Right.
World War II, and then he was discharged a year after the war. But I got to tell you, he, as you say, he was enlisted.
Right.
And so, which means that he was drafted in World War II. But he was drafted with 8 children.
Oh, my.
And age 30.
No
age
way.
30. So, yeah, but back in World War II.
Very unusual.
Very unusual.
I mean, really unusual.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And then you also have 7 brothers that were in the U.S. Army. I mean, we're talking about a regiment here.
I have 7 brothers that served in the U.S. Army. Some joined, some were drafted, but they all served and had honorable discharge. But I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
Who experienced the military a different way.
What way is that?
One married a Marine.
Love it.
And one married a soldier.
Yes.
so they got a chance to experience the military also.
Mm-hmm. What would you say and now I also know that you were in Los Angeles Police Department.
Yes, I was.
Am I correct? Now, when was that? How did we get that?
I was in Los Angeles Police Department from 1962 to 1984.
Wow.
That's 22 years. And during that time, I was also in the Army National Guard. I joined the Army National Guard after I had served my first Army tour at age 17. And when I was discharged, I joined the LAPD. And then I continued my military service in the National Guard up until 1984.
Oh my goodness!
And so I had a dual career. And then when I retired from the police department, I returned to active duty with the military.
Oh my goodness! But now, during your time as LAPD, in what capacity were you?
Well, I worked in traffic patrol and detectives, administration. I was a sergeant. I was later on a watch commander. So I did all the normal things that a police officer does, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But I had to balance that with my military career also.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you were also decorated. You received a very, very high honor in the police department, which was what?
Yes, I guess you're referring to the Medal of Valor.
Yes.
Which is the highest award that the police can provide to an officer for valor, and I was honored to have received that. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, you mentioned a moment ago about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yes.
We had a program at the National Cemetery about 3 years ago. We had 26 of the surviving Tuskegee Airmen as our special guests on Veterans Day. And I've mentioned several times programs, and I want to take the opportunity because of your support, not only for active duty and for military veterans and for families of veterans, but just in general, what both of your careers have stood for. In my new capacity as president of the Los Angeles National Cemetery Foundation, we have created what in the military, for those of you who don't know, is called a challenge coin. Oh. And it's the first time in 100 years that the National Cemetery has ever done this. And so among the first minting of these coins, I want to present each of you with your very own Los Angeles National Cemetery Challenge coin, and thanking you for your contribution to keeping us safe and for setting the role model for those young people who look and say, you know, why would I go in the service? Because there are people like you.
And also,
I thank you on behalf of
and
all
I just
of us.
have to say that, to me, as much as I'm talking to Peter here, I know that the women out there, because in our day, my day, there were not a lot of women in the service at all. And I'm 86 years young. So we didn't have many people when we did go to war at that time that were women that we celebrated. And Blanche, you exemplify what women should be doing and the service that you've done, being in our service for just out there, knowing that we have someone like yourself and many other women. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I know that the women now are doing so much more than I was allowed to do, even when I was coming through. Playing a small role in the whole genre of changing roles with the military and even in society.
Yes.
The roles are changing. Thank you. I appreciate your comment.
Well, I will, because it takes, how do they say it? It takes perseverance and dedication, as you know, in your particular thing that you've gone on and done. But for a woman, it's really it's been a push. It just has.
It's been a push, a shove, and a whole lot of yelling and screaming to allow us to do what we're supposed to do. You're right.
One of the guests that we have coming on in future show will be Brigadier General Ruth Wong, who was a nurse practitioner and then became the first Brigadier General who was in that role, and the first nurse practitioner in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're really fortunate. We actually have the admiral from the battleship Iowa coming on early next year.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay, both of those are friends of mine.
Yes, everybody.
Everybody is a friend.
I can't go to any. I told Greg Lee, who's the chairman of the California State Commanders Council.
Right.
Yes.
I said he's been on the show, and I said General Gravett and Blanche Gravett are going to be on our show, and he said please give him my regard. He's a friend of mine. And I said everyone is a friend.
Well, no, but I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Please.
Well, it's just that when when looking at what you've done, and I'd like you to just share with our audience from the time that you left the LAPD and went back into active duty. You kept rising and.
Yes, at the time that I retired from LAPD, I was a lieutenant colonel.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Well, that's pretty high.
I know.
And so returned to active duty, and so for the next several years, I had various assignments as lieutenant colonel, and then eventually I was promoted to the rank of full colonel.
Wow.
Colonel, and as a colonel, I was a brigade commander. As lieutenant colonel, I was a battalion commander of 2 different battalions, and then as a colonel, I was the chief of staff of a division, and then I was a brigade commander, and then I was promoted to a brigadier general, and a 1-star, and then I was an assistant division commander as a 1-star, and then later on as 2-star as a division commander. I commanded the 40th Infantry Division, mechanized, which is a division of about 18,000 soldiers.
And where was that?
Well, the division is located in the western United States.
Okay.
In 5 different states. We have units in 5 different states.
Wow.
The headquarters is right here in California at Los Alamitos.
Okay.
But we have battalions and brigades in the 5 western states.
Can I ask you, I'm one that does not know. I'm not like Chaplain Dove, he's military. What is the difference between a brigade and a battalion? I got to ask.
No, I'm glad you asked the question.
Thank you.
A battalion, based upon the type of battalion, whether it's infantry, armor, or logistics, whatever it is,
okay.
A battalion ranges from between 500 and 750 soldiers. Okay. A brigade is about 3,000 soldiers.
Oh, big difference. Wow.
And a brigade would normally have about 4 to 5 battalions in a brigade. And then a division would have 5 or 6 brigades in a division. So that's why my division, we had about 18,000 soldiers, but we also had 57,000 family members, dependent family members that we never want to forget them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my good. I have to ask this little question of mine. 2 people serving in our military, married. How is it living with really a legend? I mean, it really is. And I mean, knowing you, I know you took it in stride and did whatever, but how is it living with a legend?
Be careful, because this is an answer that could come back to haunt you.
It won't haunt me.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm not a legend, but go ahead.
Oh, and believe me, you are. Go ahead.
What is your line? He has to salute before he comes into the bedroom at
I
night.
love it. Oh.
Yeah. No, at home it's just like a regular married couple.
Okay.
You just go and do your normal things that all the couples do.
Right.
There's no general, there's no colonel. There's just Peter and Blanche at home. So
I love it. Well, what I get the feeling when we've been together before outside of the studio here is a really wonderful sense of each one of you with pride to the other one. Mm-hmm. And I think all of us in the audience, it's a family show, and they realize that that's so important. Forgetting everything else is the pride and respect that the 2 of you have together.
I certainly have a lot of respect and pride, but also love for Blanche.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, let me ask you, I'm looking at a book, everyone, and the book is called from East Garrison to the ranch house.
Right, and we're showing that on the screen as we're speaking.
Right now. Could you kind of tell us about that?
Yes, the book, first of all, the title comes from, and the title is, it should say East Garrison to the Ranch House. Both East Garrison and the Ranch House are located at Camp Roberts, California. Camp Roberts is a Army post in California on the Central Coast, halfway between San Luis Obispo and Monterey on the Central Coast. And in World War II, the post is divided by U.S. Highway 1, which is 101. In World War II, the east side of the post, called East Garrison, was where the colored soldiers were stationed. This is when the Army was segregated.
Wow, okay.
And the West Garrison, which is on the west side of the post, is where the white soldiers were stationed.
Unreal.
Well, so in my book, it's really an autobiography of 4 different careers, but I talk about how in East Garrison in World War II, the colored soldiers were sleeping on cots in tents where they had built barracks for the POWs, Italian and German POWs, who were living in new barracks that the colored soldiers had to build, and they themselves were sleeping in tents. And so I talk about that, the migration of what they did in World War II to my eventually taking up residence in a ranch house, which is on the west side. And the ranch house is a small hacienda, Spanish hacienda type building, where the generals stayed. And so when I became a general, I was the very first African American
to be
in the ranch house.
Wow!
And so it journeys from World War II, long before my time, all the way to the time I occupied the ranch house. But actually, it starts before then, because in the book I talk about my ancestry and my grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and I talk about slavery and how we acquired our last name and where that whole process.
And how was that?
Well, as in most African Americans in this country, during slavery we had no last names because we were property, and property you only had a first name.
Okay.
And so when Lincoln freed the slaves in Emancipation Proclamation, the blacks that were enslaved had to get a last name, and so they took a last name from several ways. They took it from the plantation what they were enslaved on.
Right.
They took it from the nearest town, or they took it from the slave master himself or herself, or they also took it from a previous American president who had been president up until that time. And that's why you have a lot of African Americans last name of Jackson, Johnson, Washington.
Oh, my, never, ever
Lincoln.
Heard that story before,
yes, and that's where blacks got their last name. Now, my last name, Gravett, comes from the Gravett Plantation in Arkansas.
Oh,
and my ancestors were enslaved there on that plantation.
Oh, my.
And if I can add just a Jewish touch to this, as a Jewish chaplain, the very first Jewish chaplain in the military was appointed by Abraham Lincoln. He was not a rabbi, he was not ordained, but he was the one leading the program, and there was a request to have a chaplain officially, and so Abraham Lincoln appointed the more knowledgeable of the people to run and become the very first Jewish chaplain. So I'm proud to carry on that legacy.
Well, we have a connection there, don't we?
Yes.
We don't.
We always have connections. We really do.
Well, but I never even, that I have never ever heard. Thank you so much for enlightening myself and my audience out there. So right now, this is September 2018. What are the two of you doing and been doing since both of you have retired?
Well,
they never retire, first of all. You may take off the uniform, but you still serve.
Well, they say a general never retires, and therefore a colonel never retires. But we do a lot of veterans events. We attend veterans events. We do a lot of speaking at veteran events. We do volunteer work. I do volunteer work at the VA hospital.
Oh wow! Okay.
But also we take time to enjoy ourselves with some travel. But lately, just lately, I've been marketing my book because I'm doing some book signings.
Great. Now, where is your next one?
And the next one is tomorrow.
Oh, where?
It's tomorrow at the Hollywood American Legion Post.
And that is,
yes.
And that is, for all people out there that might want to come, that would be a great place. It's on Highland and
just north of Fountain.
North Fountain. It's post 43. There's a big cannon outside.
Right.
You're not going to miss it. It's
Right.
right next door to the Hollywood Bowl. What time is that, Peter?
It's at 5:30, I believe.
5:30 tomorrow evening.
Right. Dinner is 5:30 to 6:30, and then we have our meeting, and you'll be
Right.
doing your signing and presentation.
Right, after dinner, right.
Right.
Yes.
Love
yes.
that.
Yeah,
That
I've
is-
been
So this is timely, huh?
Yeah, it is very timely.
I've been a proud member of that post for many years.
Yeah.
And in February, we do a program called the Four Chaplains. And we honor the four chaplains who went down with the USS Dorchester.
Yes.
2 Protestant, a Catholic, and a Jewish chaplain
Right.
took off their life vest so that 4 enlisted men could
be saved.
live,
Right.
and they went down with the ship.
And they were singing arm in arm as they
Arm in
went
arm.
down.
Wow,
That's right.
So your book takes us for what period? Now you said from way back to
It just touches on my ancestry
Okay.
from going back to about 1825 to the early 1900s. But it's really about my life and my career.
and you said 4 careers for our audience out there.
Okay, military.
Military.
Okay.
1.
Law enforcement, LAPD.
2.
Government.
3.
I was Secretary of Veteran Affairs for the
There
state
you
of
go.
California
That's
and
what I wanted.
government,
Thank
appointed
you.
by Governor Jerry Brown. And then later on, international business, where I
4.
did some business overseas in some various countries.
I think that is.
Phenomenal.
I mean,
And I want to share something else with the audience that we didn't know until last Saturday. We went up to Santa Clarita to Homes for Families, to a build-out where we're actually helping to build homes for veterans.
and driving.
Donna Deutschman, who is their CEO,
Right.
sat in that chair.
Yeah.
And as we're driving up to the event,
All of a
we're
sudden,
on Gravett Place,
I love
named
it.
after our
Gravett.
very own. Yes.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
was-
couple of years ago, right?
Yes, I was very honored to have that street named for me, given the fact that I was involved with establishing those 86 homes
And
up
the
there.
financing for
And the
them
financing
through Calvet. Yeah.
came through Calvet when I was secretary. And I got to give credit to Donna Deutschman.
Oh, fabulous lady.
A great lady.
Fabulous.
A great lady. She's the CEO of the at the time Habitat for Humanity
Right.
Santa Clarita Silmar branch, but also REN, which is the residents in rich neighborhoods.
Right.
And it was Donna. This is a quick story.
Sure.
We were at a restaurant
Okay.
in Santa Clarita with myself, Blanche, Donna,
And Larry.
and a friend, Larry, and a friend of mine who had been my LAPD partner,
Okay.
Bob Keller, who at that time was serving as the mayor of Santa Clarita.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Okay, and then a developer, and the concept, you pull out a napkin, start writing on a napkin.
Right.
I had the financing in Calvet to do the project. Bob Keller had the land owned by the city; he could donate the land.
Right.
Donna Dutchman had the overall concept, and she knew the developers that could come in and develop this project
Right.
at cost plus a few percent.
I love it.
And she did a lot of things.
Right.
And so we all kind of came together and made the project happen. And the result was
Homes for families.
we opened 86 homes for veterans.
And I have to say that the concept is not just helping them, the veteran, get a home, but more than that, it's helping them find an area to live in, a job, that their families can connect with each other. It's like holding up each other in a group, in a neighborhood.
And
of
it's also
veterans.
teaching them financial responsibility so
Oh,
they
yes.
get to
Yes.
keep the
Yes,
home,
yes.
not just get it,
Yes.
but manage their finances so that they don't lose it.
In order to acquire the home, we had hundreds of applicants, of course, and those that were selected with a process of both community and veterans and other people, they had to attend a financial literacy class. They had to donate hours. Either
Sweat
at
equity.
at a
Wow.
women's
Right.
shelter or a
Right.
food pantry or some kind of nonprofit.
And even the children had
and
to
the
do
children-
something.
Really?
And
Oh, my
the
because it was a
children had to be
family
involved.
thing. Yeah.
They were in
Did
there
not know
painting, and they were actually helping pour
Oh,
driveways
a
with
driveway,
concrete.
yes, for
Yeah,
one of
and the
people
next
there.
2 projects after this Santa Clarita is complete, they're going to break ground in Palmdale
Yes.
and do 100 and something homes, and then
Right.
North Hollywood.
Yes. Yes.
So
And-
I mean, they're And the veterans and their
And
families.
they're beautiful homes. We went through
wonderful.
it. I was like, wait a minute now, this is big.
Yeah.
And that room, and what I like about it, the doorknobs are a certain height and a certain way to push it. The
For the
lighting,
handicap, yeah.
because a lot have PTSD, and
right.
they need certain lighting.
Right.
I mean,
And
everything
the
that you could want
soundproofing, because
goes
those who
for it.
have come back with traumatic brain injuries or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, sounds are a problem. Temperature is a problem. There are so many problems that they have addressed in the details of building these homes. We were truly impressed with what went into them and talked to some of the families who live there. And they just, it's changed their lives.
Well, I don't believe this, Dove, but you know, it is time. I mean, I have to tell you, we have to do this again because there's so much more we can talk about. We are blessed, Dove and I today, to have you, Peter, and you, lovely Blanche, on our program, sharing lives well lived with our audience out there. And I am so proud not only to have you today, but to say that you're my friend. Thank you, God. Thank you, audience.
And look for the book on, is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, but it's also on petergravett.com. That's
There
one
you
word.
go.
petergravett.com.
petergravett.com, petergravett, petergravett.com.
And remember,
or Amazon.
Post 43 tomorrow evening, Monday
5:30.
at 5:30, where you can meet Peter and Blanche. So God bless all of you, and thank you so much for watching us today. God love. Thank you.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.